And we begin with this. Thousands of public servants are set to down tools today for the second time in less than 2 weeks over their ongoing wage dispute with government. Public service unions affiliated to COSATU, SAFTU and FEDUSA represent an estimated 800,000 members, and they're threatening to bring many services to a standstill. Now, the unions are demanding a 6.5% wage increase, but the government is standing firm on its offer of 3%. Sectors including schools, hospitals, home affairs offices and police stations are likely to be affected by today's mass action. Meanwhile, the unions have cancelled the Western Cape leg of the protest in response to the ongoing strike by SANTACO in the province. All right, let's get an update now on the national strike by public servants, and we begin with Tshegohaco Moagi, who is in Pretoria, and Mweli Masilela, who is in Mbombela. Very good morning to you both, colleagues. Let's start with you, Tshegohaco. What's the situation where you are?
Well, good morning, Kholi. So they've started gathering, the workers affiliated to various unions, including FEDUSA, COSATU and SAFTU. They have started gathering here at Burgers Park. They will be marching from Burgers Park to the National Treasury, handing over their memorandum of demands. And as you can see, I'm with Ningi this morning, Ningi Mdungia, just showing you some of the members that have gathered outside of Burgers Park this morning. Now, Kholi, we do know that these are not just the only unions that will be part of this. We know that Pop Crew is also going to be here. Of course, that is a policing union. SAPU as well, which is also a policing union, part of this particular march from Burgers Park. We also know that, other unions are part, the NOSA, so to speak. The NOSA will also be here. They, of course, are representing the nurses in this particular march. So they have started gathering here. We do understand that they will be making their way at about 10 o'clock to the National Treasury. So we are expecting that more of these members will come through here. You'd remember that when they had a briefing last week sometime, they did mention that this is going to be quite a big strike, rejecting that 3% that has been offered by government, and they are calling for between 6.5% and 10% of an increase. Workers, Kholi, the last time that they actually received an increase was in 2019, and of course with COVID-19 hitting the country, that was one of the reasons why they were unable to receive an increase. But you'd remember as well that some of the nurses and the nursing unions really speaking out about how nurses really spoke and really worked rather during the COVID-19 pandemic and the hard labor that they had to go through, and yet they did not receive any increase at all. So this march expected to start at 10 o'clock, and more people are actually expected to gather from about 9:30 or so and moving out just after 10 o'clock.
Tshegohaco Moagi live for us here in Gauteng. Let's take you to the province of Mpumalanga and the city of Mbombela, to be exact, and that's where Mweli Masilela is. Mweli, the action is going to be in different areas in that province. We've already listed some of the services that are going to be affected. Tell us more about what we can expect from Mpumalanga today.
Well, Kholi, as you can see here outside the government complex in Mbombela, there is not much of activity at the moment, but I saw some government workers making their way into the government complex already wearing those union T-shirts. And I managed to speak to the Secretary of Nehau in the province, Kholi, that is Welcome Nisi, and he's saying that they've decided as unions to decentralize this protest or this strike action. So what they are doing is that they are going to have the strike happening in all the districts in the province. We're talking about Nkangala, Gebsebande, and here in Ehlanzeni, and that is why perhaps we are not seeing a lot of people yet on the ground, but we are expecting that there will be more movement by 10 a.m. They said that they invited the Premier of the province, Mweli, to receive that memorandum of grievances, but she is outside the country, so we'll wait and see as to who will come and receive that memorandum on her behalf. But Mweli, this is not only about the wages. As much as those wages are the main issue behind the strike, the union representatives are saying that there's been quite a number of long-standing issues, talking about the issue of austerity measures, which they believe that they've strained workers here in the province. They are talking, for example, about both the education sector and the health sector, to say that there are some workers who are still not permanently employed. You are talking about assistant teachers and nurses. So they're saying that government's ways of trying to save comes at the cost on the side of those workers. The working conditions themselves, as they will be handing over a memorandum also at the Nzwalo Hospital in Bushbuck Ridge. Health professionals are still faced by the challenge of shortage of staff and also shortage of medication. We are told that the MEC for Health, Sasekani Manzini, will be taking care of that memorandum this side, and those workers will be expecting her to respond in some of those issues besides the issue of the wages.
When Masilela live for us in the city of Mbombela, and Tshegohaco Moagi, thank you very much for the time being. Let's turn our attention